What is up, beautiful family? Hope you guys are having a great Friday morning, ready to take some action, ready to win. Today, we are going to be talking about why your bad habits are ruining your life. And a lot of people don't want to admit that they're ruining their lives. They're using it for comfort, they're using it as a scapegoat so they don't have to do anything. It's usually all root from procrastination. But I'm going to give you guys some tips on how to get rid of the unhealthy habits finally. Because it took me months and months and months to master this art of not having really bad habits. Okay, so number one, you always have to identify the triggers, no matter what it is. It could be sitting here binge watching TV, it could be corn, it could be eating unhealthy, it could be skipping the gym. It doesn't matter what it is. But those unhealthy habits are going to lead in a negative downfall for your future. And it is extremely important that you catch them early, because if not, you're going to sit here and do the same thing over and over and over until you realize that this is not serving my life. My fault for the little jacket back there. It's whatever. But like I said, you have to identify the triggers. So why this matters is the bad habits often arise from specific triggers, so stress, boredom, certain environments, or emotional states. So I want you guys to look at when you fall into these temptations of what you're doing. Usually for me, it was falling into boredom of I had nothing to do, so I'm going to replace it with a bad habit, whether it's watching TV or watching corn or, just eating junk food. So I want you guys to track your habits, and you guys have to start small. This is extremely important, is starting small, because if you go and do a whole bunch of stuff, all you're going to do is stress yourself out and give yourself more to do on the to-do list, okay? So I just want you guys to track your habits for a week, whether it's negative or positive. It doesn't matter what it is, but I want you to write down those situations, the thoughts, feelings that lead you to fall back into them. Once you identify the triggers, you can start avoiding and managing them. I think journaling and writing things down is extremely important if you want to understand who you truly are. People don't really think that it works or whatever. I think that's one of the best things that you could do to find out about yourself. Because now you don't have to go talk to anybody. You don't have to go and tell somebody that you're going through a bad habit. You can walk through this yourself. And I understand the accountability that it takes. Start small. It could be a paragraph of journaling in a line journal book. Like, it could be a paragraph. It doesn't have to be a whole page. I've progressed to a whole page because now I'm accountable in myself to do that every single day. Every single night when I'm done with work, that's the first thing I do. I don't turn on the TV. I don't do anything other than journal, because I want to truly understand who I am. Okay, so now, number two, I have said this before, but it's so important to replace this bad habit with a good one, because all your brain is doing is looking for the dopamine that you get from the bad habit, which is not good, because now all you're doing is looking for that bad habit to reward yourself, right? It always craves that. So I want you guys to replace this behavior, this negative habit, whatever it may be, with a healthier behavior that offers a similar reward. It's easier. It's way easier to shift than just trying to go cold turkey on something. I'm so serious when I say that. And you sitting here doing the same things over and over and over, like I said, are going to take a huge toll on your future, whether it be positively or negatively. There's so many times that I work with people and their habits are, it's not what their vision looks like. Their vision is much bigger, but they still have all of these negative habits holding them back, and they're probably not ever going to get what they want unless they cut out those negative habits. So, for example, if stress leads to you binge watching TV after a long day, I want you guys to try to replace that time that you're binge watching TV and taking the load off, as people call it, with something that is a stress relief activity, right? It could be going for a walk, going outside, talking to people you love, meditating, journaling. There's a whole bunch of things that we can get into. Going to the gym. It doesn't matter. Reading a book. If you can replace these negative habits, because I understand a lot of people do have 9 to 5 jobs. I'm sure some of you guys that are watching this have 9 to 5 jobs, but you have to understand that you cannot take your work home, because that's when the stress comes out. I've worked with people that have the 9 to 5 jobs, but they cannot balance the improvement and growth at the same time that they're working their 9 to 5 job. So this is the one thing that you have to understand. You have time. If you're getting out at 6 o'clock and you go to sleep at 10 o'clock, that is 5 hours, or I think, yeah, whatever, however long it is. But that's a long ass time for you to go and do something instead of sitting here and wasting it. It could even be preparing your meals for the next day. It doesn't matter what it is. But do not go to something to take off the load, as in smoking weed or drinking alcohol or binge watching TV. I really believe that if you have worked hard that week, you deserve some sort of reward. My reward is usually ice cream. I've told you guys this before. I love my ice cream. I love my Ben and Jerry's cookie dough. Stuff is great, but I don't do it on an every single day basis. It's only when I can reward myself. When I've been doing the work that needs to be done, when I didn't feel like it, I'm going to reward myself so I can continue to do it. This brings me back to number one, is replacing it with a good habit. But I know ice cream isn't a good habit, but it's not a habit. It's a reward that I crave when I'm doing good work. So now my brain puts in good work because it knows that it's going to get a reward. I know there's some dopamine neuroscientists out there that might say that's a bad idea. But if you want your brain to perform on the highest of levels, you have to reward yourself. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be on Saturday after you have been out of work. You can go and shop for clothes or go buy groceries that you usually don't get. Something like that. It's really easy to give yourself a reward. But you need a reward for doing positive. You cannot have a reward when you're doing negative. That's where it is. Okay. Now, number 3. I just said this, but you want to start small. Start with the tiny habits, because that momentum is going to lead into something so much bigger than you can even imagine. When I first started journaling, I thought it was such a waste of time. I thought it was a complete garbage movement, but it is really not. Now that I've been doing it for 2 years every single day consistently, my life has really changed. And I truly mean that. It's I see a huge difference in myself and who I am. Okay. So trying to overhaul all of life at once obviously leads to burnout, right? If you want to improve yourself, like I said, but you have a 9 to 5 job, I understand that it's extremely hard. I understand that it's not easy to do something like that. So success, obviously, it comes from small, consistent wins. Every single win that you put in that's small is going to build momentum so you can finally conquer the good things. So I want you to break down your habit into something so small it feels almost too easy. Something that you can do on a daily basis that you're not going to get sick and tired of, okay? Something so small that it is easy for you to do. For example, if you want to stop late night snacking, start committing to just one snack night a week. No more 7 days a week. Just one, do it. Just one day, you can do it. And then that is going to help you replace that habit. Just cutting it down from the root. That is so important. And it doesn't even matter what we're talking about. It could be emotional trauma, cutting it from the root, understanding it from the root. Okay. If you want to stop, it'll slowly build from there. It's really simple. It's not hard. So now, number 4, and I understand a lot of people are, this is what they struggle with, is accountability within themselves. When you're accountable to someone else, it becomes harder to slip back into these habits. So this goes for yourself and for other people. If you know somebody that wants to improve as well, they could become your accountability partner. Every single night, you guys check in with each other and tell them how you guys did today. Share your goals with a friend. It doesn't matter who it is. But they have to be on the same path. They have to be wanting to change something as well, because all that's going to happen is they're going to call you lame or stupid or weird for trying to change your life. I've gone through it, and those are the people that I've cut off. Anyway, find somebody who is working on breaking the bad habit as well. Check in with them regularly and celebrate all the small wins. So the small wins can be you cutting out the bad habit. You guys can go out to eat. It's really simple. You have to find a reward system for your brain, because if your brain doesn't have rewards, it's not going to want to do anything. I'm telling you right now, that's why a lot of people are procrastinators, because, for example, if you are in college and you need to study, the reward really isn't that big. You're not really getting that big of a reward from studying. I mean, yes, maybe you pass the test, whatever, but the reward just isn't there. What I used to do, and I've never been in college or whatever, but when I used to sit here and learn for hours and hours and hours at a time, Sour Patch Kid every hour or after every chapter, it helps, man. Number 5 is change the environment you're in. I've noticed that a lot of temptations roots from who you're around and where you're around. If you're at your house all the time, you're going to get bored, and that's going to lead to temptation. If you're around people who are always doing bad habits, you're going to be doing the same thing, man. I don't care what anybody says. Well, my friends smoke weed, but I don't. One day, they are going to encourage you to do it. One day, they're going to influence you to tell you that it's not that bad. Your surroundings can either support or sabotage your goals. The environment where bad habits take place reinforces them. Make your environment bad habit proof. For example, if you always eat junk food while watching TV, keep healthy snacks on hand and avoid sitting in the room where the TV is at. Altogether, where all the cravings strike. So as you can tell, I don't have a TV in here. I used to have a cool little projector, but I took that out because all that was leading to was laziness. All that was leading to was half-ass work. I don't go in my living room anymore because there's a TV in there. And I understand sometimes it's okay to do it. Like, it's not that you need to sit here and live on monk mode the rest of your life. I'm not telling you to do that. But a lot of the time, these bad habits are just going to take a huge toll on who you are, on your confidence, because now you can't even trust your word. If you told yourself you're going to stop and you keep on doing it every single day, now you can't even trust your word. So now your confidence is going to be in the toilet. There's a whole thing for this. If you say that you're going to stop tugging your rope, you should say it like that, and you still do it, your confidence is going to be down in the toilet. So now, number 6, we talked about this yesterday or the day before. Self-compassion. Beating yourself up for slipping only makes it harder to change. You can't break bad habits from a place of shame. This is really important. I know I was just talking about confidence and all that fun stuff, but you can't be too hard on yourself. Everybody's going to relapse with something somehow, but when you slip, acknowledge it without judgment and move on with your life. It's not that big of a deal. Yes, you did fall into the thing that you didn't want to do, It is going to take a hit on your confidence. It is going to give you a ton of regret, but nothing good comes from shame. Nothing good. Nothing good comes from regret or shame. So remind yourself that growth takes the time and the effort. But if you're willing to put in this time and effort, it's limitless to what you could do. Celebrate the progress even when it feels small. People get discouraged all the time. And I know I'm talking about the small wins over and over and over. But you have to understand that this is why a lot of people get discouraged. This is why a lot of people quit, is because they are not rewarding themselves. They are way too hard on themselves. They worked 15 hours a day, and this was me, man. I did the same thing, working 15-hour days, and then after the end, it felt like I could still do more. My brain, that little voice is telling me that, hey, what are you doing? There's still work to be done. So being your own self-critic is it's not gonna help you at all unless you know how to channel it into motivation. But the whole hustle culture garbage, I think, is such a waste of time. You are just leading to burnout. That's all it is. I mean, unless you're an extremely high performer. But yeah. Okay. Now, 7. Focus on the root cause, not just the habit. Often, bad habits are coping mechanisms for deeper emotional issues like stress, loneliness, anxiety, whatever you want to call it. There's a ton of emotions that go into bad habits. Okay, ask yourself, what am I trying to escape from or cope with this habit? Why am I even doing this habit? Why am I even putting action into this habit? Why am I giving it attention? Address the root cause, whether it's through mindfulness, therapy, or talking to somebody who can help. I know a lot of people don't want to talk about their problems. I completely understand that. But if you really want to change, it helps a lot. It truly helps a lot. Like, going to talk to somebody about what you're going through. Because if you're already in the deeper hole, you're going to get in a deeper hole if you try to go tell people. It's just a whole rotation. And a lot of the things, man, first of all, it is in your environment. If you have your parents that are always lazy and watching TV and doing all this garbage all the time, what do you think is going to happen to you? It's all about the subconscious. This is why your environment for everything is extremely important. If you want to go start that business, your environment is extremely important. The people around you, your friends, all of those assets can be great for your life, but they can also be disgusting liabilities. Okay? So now, number 8 is setting the clear goals with realistic timelines. Vague goals, like I want to stop eating junk food, see it all the time, is, oh, well, one day I'll stop. One day I'll stop smoking weed. One day I'll stop drinking alcohol. You have to make it easy, because all that is doing is making it easy to fall back on, right? Clear goals and clear specific goals make it easier for you to stay on track. It's that simple. Instead of saying, I want to stop eating junk food, say, I will only eat healthy snacks, or I won't eat anything at all. Monday through Friday for the rest of the next 2 weeks. Setting clear timeline goals makes your goal more achievable. This is really important, man. Like, a lot of people don't know the art of goal setting, so maybe we'll make a video about that. Goal setting is extremely important to keep you accountable and keep you on track. Everything's all messed up. My hair, my face is all puffy. Whatever. Anyway, these goals are going to be the things that are going to get you out of the bad habit. Ultimately, that's what's going to help you significantly, is setting realistic goals. It could be going to the gym 2 days a week for the next month. Start small. I'm going to keep on saying it. Start small so you can get what you want in the future, the bigger picture. A lot of people can't even see the next 2 weeks of their life. I have my whole life planned out already with realistic time goals. And this is why I am so consistent with everything that I do, because there's goals and there's a timeline for it to get done. Now, number 9 is tracking your progress. Why does tracking your progress matter, you may ask? Tracking the progress helps you see improvements, even when it feels like you're doing nothing and you're stuck and you feel like you're average. Those habits that you track are going to help you so much. And it doesn't even matter what it is. There's an app that you can use out there, I'm sure, to track your progress. The way I tracked my progress, it sounds corny and it sounds cringy, bro, but looking at myself in the mirror and seeing how much I've grown in the past 2 years, how much I've matured in the past 2 years. Okay. Use a journal or habit tracking app to monitor your progress. Write down your wins, your setbacks, reflections daily. Even just seeing a streak of successful days can motivate you to keep on going. The momentum that you build from the small wins is so crazy. I know I'm just sitting here talking about the same thing over and over and over, but it is so real, bro. It is so real. Tracking your progress is so important to what you want out of this life. Because a lot of people don't even know how they've grown or what they've grown in, or they don't know what they're good at. They don't know what they're bad at. So now they can't reflect on anything. It's really simple. Okay. Now, number 10, prepare. Prepare. Have a plan for the slip ups so you can face them head on. Perfection isn't the goal. Consistency is. If you expect slip ups, you'll be less likely to give up when they happen. I don't know how simpler I can make this. That you setting yourself up for failure without a plan. You're setting yourself up for failure thinking you're not going to fail. I failed so many times. I failed so many times over and over and over. And now I understand that perfection is not what I'm going for. Perfection is not key. Perfection is not what matters. It's really not, man. So when you fall back into a bad habit, don't let it snowball and start rolling down a mountain and get all crazy. Plan how you will recover. For example, if you missed a workout, have a backup plan to do a quick workout snack at home. This could be jumping jacks, doing high knees, doing push-ups, doing air squats, whatever. Okay? This keeps you from giving up entirely after one setback. Because setbacks are going to happen, and a lot of people don't think that. I had a conversation with one of the guys yesterday, and it was about perfectionism. That is not what we should be chasing. Bad things and setbacks and failures are destined to happen. Those things just happen. It's not something that you can avoid. You can avoid it by having a plan. If you know what the average thing that goes wrong in that business, you can avoid that instead of doing it like everybody else. Or if you can get a coach for that business, you can avoid it like everyone else. Okay? So now, number 11, visualize the consequences of the bad habit. So what I have in my life is I have negative role models. So what do I mean by this? I look at somebody and view their life as a negative appearance. I look at their life and tell myself that that's not how I want to live. That's not who I want to be. I don't want to be a drunk alcoholic by the time I'm 30. I don't want to be some stoner dumbass at 30. It is really simple. And that really is the motivation to keep you going, is because you looking at those people's lives are going to help you change your life, because you don't want to end up like that person. Often we fall into the bad habits because we're not thinking about the long-term consequences in the moment. Visualize where this bad habit will lead you if you continue, whether it's declining health, lost opportunities, or broken relationships. Contrast this with life. you could have broke the habit. Let me say that again. I don't know if that made sense. Contrast this with the life you could have if you broke the bad habit. So it is extremely important to look at all of the negatives of the bad habit. I don't care how good you feel in the moment, or I don't care how good you feel after the bad habit. I don't care, because that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about cutting the damn thing off, okay? And now, the most important thing that I've talked about 10 times already, the small wins. Celebrating the small wins. Breaking bad habits takes time. And if you don't reward yourself for progress, you will lose the motivation. So, which means you will not be disciplined to show up if you're not giving a reward to yourself. You will not be motivated to show up because things are hard. Things are getting bad because there's no reward at the end of the line. Look at all of the children books that you read about, like the race. There's always a reward at the end so the person can win the race. Okay, I know that's a crazy thing. Celebrate every little victory, whether it's a week without slipping or making a healthier choice once. Reward yourself, just not with the habit you're trying to break. Breaking bad habits is a process, but with patience, self-compassion, and consistency, it's absolutely possible to create lasting change in your life. Right here, I'm going to put a video about self-compassion, self-criticism, and self-love right here. But I hope you guys have a beautiful Friday, man. Get after it today and win. I love every single one of you guys. Nathan Brooks is out. Boom.